I live in a perfect universe. Everything in my life works perfectly. I am in harmony with my world. I peacefully accept what happens to me and release what I don't need. I focus on creating the kind of life I want and draw that energy toward me. I take actions that move me in the direction I want to go. Life is good, and I am fulfilled in so many ways. I experience radiant health and peace of mind. I have quality relationships and meaningful activities. I am growing and evolving in ways that excite and fulfill me. With every step I take, I experience support and encouragement. I appreciate the gift of my life.
Okay, so what does anybody think about that one? And how do we manage perfection in a world that doesn't seem very perfect? Does anybody want to share any things that they've learned?
That has been becoming so clear that no matter what seems to go on outside, this is my gift to do with as I choose. And to choose peace, to choose that which makes me love life, that which not even makes me to realize the love I have for life has really dispelled the fears. You know, people talking and saying, oh my God, oh my God. I call it the oh my God state. And I feel like, God bless it, I feel like I'm gaining an immunity to the OMG state and resting more and more in the fact that I have this tremendous gift, and every day I can open that gift and bring in what I choose. And it's inside, of course, that's where it starts. And then the experience outside is so beautiful, no matter what it is.
I wanted to talk about the fact that we just don't know what's going on behind the scenes in life. And it's part of the mystery that we have to enter into. At least that's what I've learned. The mystery of life. Things are happening. We have no idea how perfect it is because there's so many layers and dimensions. I've been learning about that, dimensions beyond just what we experience consciously on Earth. So I trust the universe to know what it's doing. It's the other side where I have trouble with my humanity and my limitedness. So I have to work on that part about trusting myself as an expression of this beautiful universe.
Very well said. And we all need to do that because it's what's going on inside our own personal selves that is creating our life, really, and creating the life around us. Who else wants to share? This is such an important one to recognize that this universe is the world around us. All that's happening is eventually it's okay. It may not seem so perfect right now, but it is, if we wait long enough. I mean, I remember in my own life, I had this, my parents made me break up with my boyfriend in college, blah, blah, blah. It was horrible. I cried every day for a year. It was terrible. But then years later, well, I met Dean, and I realized even though my parents, they had their reasons, which were maybe trying to protect me from prejudices or something, it didn't seem right. The reasoning was wrong in my mind, but ultimately it was the right thing. I didn't need to marry that person. I needed to marry Dean or wait for Dean or have a bunch of adventures and then marry Dean. So I'm just saying it taught me a lesson early on as a young person that what looks like it isn't good, just hang in there. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep moving forward. Do your best. Support each other. Be open. Keep exploring, whatever you can, but it will change. And I know people who've gone through horrible things and they've survived. And so what's happening today in our world, and I will say that what is concerning me more than anything probably is the divisiveness in our world, because we've got some serious things that are splitting us apart, and consciousness level. And so I just think we need to keep I know Susan had she'd given me some really great information from her teacher, which was about the unity and the oneness, and that we can't let that go.
I do believe that it's all perfect, and that what we're here to learn is to learn, to become more aware, and to see beyond those illusions of separateness that you're speaking of. And if it takes a slap in the face, if it takes being burned by fire as a child, you learn. And I guess the steeping into faith, I think of faith. And faith is not, to me, faith in something. It's just faith in all of it. So I think faith is really important, that you have faith that there is a purpose, that there is a reason. And we are usually our own worst enemy. So we go in our mind, your monkey mind, and we create illusions of separateness within ourselves. And if we can quiet, if we can come to stillness, then I think it takes courage maybe to be vulnerable and still, to separate from that mind identification. But when we do, wow.
I've noticed more and more that sometimes perfection is really just small things. And that when you think something isn't going to work out, and maybe it's kind of irritating and, throwing off your day because it wasn't what you'd planned, that whatever comes after it is okay and maybe better. And so if you can kind of let go of that expectation that it has to be a certain way, the discovery around the corner that you have to take, to get to the next step is sometimes better and more fun, like unexpected joy or discovery. And so I was thinking about not always thinking of perfection on a big scale, but sometimes just on a very small scale.
Absolutely. And hanging in there is so important, because when we do resist, I remember one of the early things later in the book, there's a go with the flow and that kind of thing. But when we were learning that concept, there's a section in the Bible that says, Jesus says, resist not evil. And I'm like, well, how does that work? Or what do you mean? And I don't know if you've ever studied Tai Chi at all, but the concept of somebody coming at you, if you come back at them, you're going to probably end up in a big battle and get knocked over. But if you just do this little thing, it's just turning kind of, and then that energy that's coming at you just kind of like slides past, it falls on its face. It's just done. It's not hurting you. So it's really important, I think, to be able to understand how to flow with the things that do happen and see it as perfect. And it sounds airy fairy, it sounds new age. Well, yeah, it is. That's okay. But if you can live with that in your mind and you're kind of as a guiding principle, then you're gonna draw to you, because what we've all learned with the law of attraction is like what you focus on expands. If you're freaking out about something that is, you think shouldn't be there, or somebody did something wrong or bad or mean, and you just get all upset about it, then you just are adding to it. And then that attracts. And that's why anger, even though anger can be a tool and a useful tool at certain times, it's never something that you want to be pervasive in your life or persistent. And if it ever is, you need to kind of deal with it internally, but it has to be dealt with because it can eat away at you. So there's just so many things that, you know, we're all discovering in these principles, that they're ancient. It's things that we were discovering, Dean and I were discovering back in the 60s and 70s. The 60s were a time of, we learned what we were against. We were against war, we were against discrimination and injustice and inequality. But what were we for? You know, it took us all through the 70s, and people who were alive then and working it, they were learning and discovering. But many of the principles were coming from ancient Eastern philosophy, Native American philosophy, Christian philosophy, Jewish, Muslim. It all came from these ancient wisdom books and teachings, but we were just kind of learning to see them in a different way. And I remember when Dean and I would read so many different of these spiritual books, and they were saying the same thing, you know, karma. What is karma? What you give it, what you sow, you reap. You know, it's the law of cause and effect. It's like the Buddhist said it this way, the Christian said it's that way, the Indian said it. It's all the same, but it's just a basic principle. And that's what I tried to do with the book. And I hope that you've enjoyed, you know, going through the principles. So anybody else have anything to share?
Recently, I went through something very difficult and frightening to me. And I was obsessive. I couldn't sleep. All I did was think about what might happen. Oh my God, the OMG state. And the only escape from it was inside, was constantly riding the breath and doing the other meditation that I do. It was the only escape. And it was not easy because this thing had me. But I'll tell you what, sometimes what seems like dark times can drive us to where we need to go for perfection, which is in here. If we look for it out here, we're always going to be disappointed because we have these ideas of perfection. And that's from that same cookbook as The Monkey Mind. So yeah, I just feel like times like this especially, they're rich if you can grab the pressure that it puts on us, you know, to seek peace here and find that place that's perfect just the way it is, always has been. When it broke through, it was like I went to a level I've never been. And it was like, oh my God, I'm free. I don't even care if these things happen. So what? Bring them on. So thank you.